x-ray. It's bone on bone. The pain's been building for years, and now surgery feels like it's the only option. And I get it. I have walked this path with so many of my clients. And here's what I want you to know. You don't have to wait until after surgery to start feeling better. Welcome. Today we're talking about prehabilitation, what it is and why it matters, and how it can help you recover faster, reduce pain, and feel stronger before you ever step into the operating room. Hi, I'm Cheryl Gordon, and this is episode 15 already of the Midlife Reset podcast. I help midlife women sleep better, lose weight, feel stronger, using the tools of yoga and mindfulness. And today I want to share with you a new branch of therapy that we're referring to these days as prehabilitation. You've all heard how important rehab is. Well, you can start making a positive difference even prior to surgery. Prehabilitation is a personalized exercise, education, and lifestyle program that's undertaken before surgery to optimize recovery. We often just say prehab, and it helps to prepare you physically and mentally for the demands of surgery and that all-important rehabilitation after. It focuses on improving strength and flexibility, your cardiovascular fitness, nutrition, and mindset. Research shows that patients who do prehab recover faster, they use less pain medication post-surgery, and they spend a lot less time in the hospital. And then after surgery, they regain their mobility more quickly. Think of this as like training for a marathon. I mean, you'd have to prepare for that. You wouldn't show up cold, right? Here's how prehabilitation works. And keep in mind, as we're going through this, that I have had many clients over the years who have gone through this in anticipation of needing a knee or a hip replacement. And then they were able to kind of kick that down the road. So let's talk about what prehab looks like. First of all, we work on strengthening the muscles around the joint. The reason you are facing surgery is because there has been some imbalance in how your muscles are performing. It's been building for a long time. Some muscles are a little tight, so they pull the bone and it accidentally bumps against tissue it shouldn't be touching, like another bone or a ligament. And then other muscles that were designed to work in the opposite direction are maybe a little sleepy, not pulling their weight. And the result is that the joint is out of balance. And even now that the joint's been damaged, you start to balance. If you start to balance out the function of the muscles, it will start to bring a little relief already. This also prepares you for when you get that new hardware. Your muscles will be in a better position to adjust to new movement patterns. So many of my clients think that, and they're kind of led to believe, in all honesty, that getting a new bit of hardware in the hip or the knee is going to take all their pain away. But the movement patterns that contributed to that bone on bone, they're still there unless you actively do something to change it. So we can start doing that right now. You don't have to wait for surgery. Also, prehab will improve your balance and mobility. Post-surgery, a fall can be catastrophic. So working with yoga poses can give you that proprioceptive awareness of how you are walking and moving. Being more mindful of your body reduces your accidents and your clumsiness. We can start reducing the pain and inflammation right now. And here's how. Movement creates circulation. It pumps fresh fluids that flush through the joint and sweep away some of the inflammatory compounds that are causing the swelling, the heat, and the pain. Yoga tools also calm the mind. Paper cuts, always hurt more at work because it was your mindset at work. It was stressful. So we know that pain signals are received differently in less stressful environments. So the regular practice of meditation or breathing techniques and other yoga tools can help reduce your experience of the joint pain. And then you just don't feel it quite as intensely. So managing that stress. And of course, everyone's told when they're waiting for a joint replacement to manage their weight. Now, I hope you've been listening to some of these other podcasts. Exercise does not result in weight loss. That's a whole other podcast. If you want to look it up, it's episode 2. We started talking about it. But yoga will help manage weight in so many other ways. I dove into this quite deeply with my friend Charlene in episode number 4 when we talked about stress and weight gain. So that's where yoga really shines to help you with weight loss. And you know your doctor has pointed out that losing 1 pound of body weight takes almost 10 pounds of pressure off your joints, your lower joints. So there's a kind of a multiplier effect there. And finally, when you do prehab, you really work on building your confidence and reducing your anxiety. Wait times are longer than ever where I live. And I know I've heard all the horror stories about this one had this done. You've probably heard it too. So no wonder it's a little stressful while you're waiting for this to come down. Yoga gives you this positive place to hang out for a while each day. You know you're building something better for yourself that will pay dividends in the long run. So how do you do this? How do you do prehab? Well, I have a hip and knee release and strengthen series online here. I'll put a link in the show notes. I show you what to do step by step. We'll talk more a little bit about that program later. But here are some elements to look for if you're going to buy into a prehab program. You need a program that's tailored to your specific ability. Look at it this way, the joint in question that is giving you all this pain, it's very angry. It's very upset. So any movements you do need to take that into account. We don't want to create more pain. So I use a lot of chairs, yoga straps or ties, and a whole bunch of other props that can make the yoga positions more safe and more accessible. The first step in my mind, after I've created an adaptive program, is to relieve pain right now as much as possible. This means nurturing the nervous system with calming practices. I recommend restorative yoga and breathing exercises before you start doing anything else with your hip or your knee. So if you do the hip and knee program, that's where we start. And please don't skip this step thinking that that's all woo-woo or just fluff. It's actually a really essential step to calm those pain signals. It's really hard to get anywhere with your prehab when you're really stressed out. So don't skip those first week or two's lessons. Then after we've calmed the nervous system as much as we can, we've dealt with the stress, now we start looking at mobilizing the joint, but I don't want to do any weight bearing on the joint as we're exercising. My goal here would be just to flush out those compounds, to lubricate the joint, simple range of motion exercises. And this is also done online if you want to try it in my joint freeing series. I'll put a link. It's a free video series that you can get through my website, but I'll put a link in the show notes. This practice is something I've used with my clients for years. In fact, just this morning, a client was telling me she does it every morning. It takes her 5 or 10 minutes, but it just transitions her from that stiffness when she first gets out of bed, when she feels like she's going to break or she feels 100 years old, to being able to get through her morning routine with some ease. So I use it myself every day. There's 4 different versions online. I'll put a link. And don't worry, the most popular version of my joint freeing series is one where we use a chair, so you don't have to get down on the floor. Stay hydrated, right? That was episode number 6, I think, if you want to look it up. Okay, then after we brought some circulation to the joints, we're getting more mobilized, I want to start building strength. I look at the weaker muscles first. Typically, and everyone is different, the rear kinetic chain is less responsive. That's the one that's been pulling the bones out of alignment. The muscles in question are usually the buttocks, the backs of the thighs, and the calves. So we start working on strengthening there. Then gradually we work towards weight-bearing exercises, but this has to be done with meticulous alignment. These are poses like the warrior series, lunges, or chair pose. Expert instruction can help you recognize how to fire the big mover muscles, such as the ones I just mentioned, as well as the quads. Coordinating the activation in a smooth order really eases your joint pain. Now, if that joint is really that far advanced in its deterioration that you're thinking about surgery, I don't want you to stretch that joint. I'll cover the detailed reasons for this in an upcoming podcast, but for now, think of it this way. You have swelling, you have redness, you have pain, the connective tissue around the joint, like your cartilage, your tendons, ligaments, fascia, etc. They're inflamed. It's scared. The last thing this part of your body needs is someone pulling on it. It's got no stretch to give. Now, in the hip and knee release and strengthen series, I show many examples of isometric muscle work. This is a type of muscle work that strengthens the muscle, but doesn't pull on it at all. I find this to be quite magic for calming pain and giving people more confidence in their movement. So do check that out. Then you can also look at incorporating a little light exercise, some short walks, a little bicycle ride, maybe some swimming. These might be accessible and can be beneficial. The real benefit of the exercise, like that, the light cardio, isn't so much, you got to burn your calories or build up or whatever. It really is to get that circulation going and flush out those stress hormones. So it's got to be an exercise that you really enjoy and find pleasant. If it's hurting you like crazy to do something, let's find a modification. Let's find an alternative. I think the biggest part of a prehab program, though, should be pain and stress management. It is so vital to practice your breathing exercises, mindfulness, self-compassion, just as vigorously as you focus on exercises. This is preparing your mind for surgery, and your mind is your most powerful recovery tool. Let's talk about nutrition for a second, because nutrition can support your healing even now before surgery. It's so easy to get busy and say, oh, all things in moderation, while we're knee deep in birthday cake or Doritos. And I speak from experience here. In midlife, we just can't ignore that we are more insulin resistant, more prone to inflammation, and that we've had decades of stressful lives. It's taken their toll. So you can look up episode number 3 of the Midlife Reset podcast. We cover that quite in detail. But to address the hormonal challenge of midlife, fiber is your friend. So thinking about really how you can up your fiber, many of us can benefit from that. The other aspect of nutrition is to think about your protein. Experts are recommending about 30 grams of protein per meal on average. It's a major building block for connective tissue and muscle. Now, my colleague, Charlene Stiles, that I did the first few podcasts with, has some great nutritional resources on her website. So I will put that link in the show notes as well, so you can get some nutritional advice from her if you need to. So what are the best exercises for hip and knee prehab? Well, I can guide you step by step if you want to buy into the hip and knee release and strengthen series. It's $19 online, and you do it all at home. Takes less than 20 minutes at a time to do the practice. But if you want to get started on your own, I would recommend bridge pose. You can even do bridge pose in bed if getting down on the floor is tough. And I use a yoga block between the knees when I'm doing bridge pose. It helps to stabilize the joints, bit of that isometric work. And as I mentioned earlier, isometric movement is very effective, and it doesn't amp up the pain because the joint isn't actually moving. So you could be seated in a chair with the yoga strap around your thighs and practice hip abduction, which is taking your legs apart. There are also so many other applications of this technique. Leg raises while seated in a chair strengthens the quads, and heel slides work the hamstrings. So all of these are in the course. Make sure the movement isn't making the pain worse. It's recommended to get the advice of perhaps a professional physio or yoga therapist when you're looking at doing exercises. Now, anyone who is scheduled for a hip or knee replacement will benefit from prehab. Older adults in general, like those of us with chronic pain, or we've been diagnosed with arthritis, or we're fighting obesity, let's take charge. When you're going to the doctor and being poked and prodded all over the place, it's so demoralizing, right? Taking charge of your prehab can at least give you that positive space each day to hang out and visualize how amazing you'll feel when you're stronger again. I can't tell you the number of clients I've had over the years who have reported back that their surgeons were amazed at the speed of their recovery or the quality of their recovery. Many clients have even shared that while they were actually waiting to get called into the operating room, they're laying there on the gurney, they practiced their breathing and their relaxation techniques. It helped them to stay calm and in a healing frame of mind, even when the knife was coming down, you know? So stressed out systems just don't have the same amount of energy for healing. And there have been dozens of clients who either ended up putting off surgery or canceled it altogether once they started practicing these prehab principles. So let's get started on your prehab ASAP. The yoga therapy approach is to do small amounts of prehab, but do it frequently. So it's not about exhausting the muscles or getting the muscles to fatigue. You might hear that in some fitness circles. Yoga therapy doesn't run that way. So there's no 1 hour long fitness marches or anything like that. As I mentioned before, if you want to try the hip and knee release and strengthen program, it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. It's easeful, it's relaxed, but you repeat that several times, even per day. You can do it more times per day. It's the frequency, like the repetition is grooving new neural pathways that will eventually help you to find smoother movement. So prehab isn't just physical. The mental preparation is essential. So in prehab, you'll learn relaxation techniques. You'll practice a positive visualization of your recovery. You'll build trust with the people that you're working with, and you help to reduce your post-op depression or fear of movement. So prehab is empowerment. Prehabilitation is an investment in your future mobility. It helps you take an active role in your own healing. So the stronger and more informed you are going in, the better you are coming out. So please check out that hip and knee release and strengthen at home course. The link's in the show notes. I also have the link there for your joint freeing series. It's good for all of us to be lubricating those joints every single day. And please let me know how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to this podcast, share it with your friends, and we'll talk again soon.